One. Hello, everybody. This is Reed Kastner-Lang, host of Dharma Unfiltered, coming in on episode 22 from the University of Miami in Florida. We have a very, very special guest on the podcast today. His name is Marcus Titus. I was introduced to him or connected with him through my aunt. He's actually my aunt's swim coach in Tucson, Arizona. And she gave me kind of a brief background of Marcus. And I looked into him a little bit more, and he's actually the first guest on the podcast that has his own Wikipedia page. So to give kind of a brief introduction, Marcus is a very humble guy, so I figured I would kind of give some of his accolades to start. So right off of Wikipedia, actually, he's the deaf world record holder in the 50-meter freestyle, 100-meter freestyle, 50-meter breaststroke, and 100-meter breaststroke, which he set records for at the World Deaf Championships. So Marcus, if you just kind of want to give an introduction of yourself, kind of where you're from, a brief background on kind of growing up and how you got introduced to swimming, and we can go from there.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks for having me online and podcast. Yeah, so basically, everybody knows my name, Marcus Titus, and I'm Tucson native, born and raised in Arizona. And my parents didn't find out till I was 3 years old when I turned deaf. So that time it was pretty hard on them. They realized I had to go to deaf school. So I went to school for the Arizona School for the Deaf and Blind. So I was there till about fourth grade. They realized that, it wasn't the best education for me. So they had me mainstream to public school. So I pretty much from fourth grade and up, I mainstream public school all the way to college. And a little bit about myself that I did a lot of different sports and stuff like that. And I didn't find the right sport for me. And then I tried out in high school for swimming. At that time, I was a little bit not sure. I had that little seeing those swimmers wearing Speedos or just tight trunks. I was not a big fan of that. I was a little sketchy about it. But what the heck, I give it a try. So I wear my swim trunks, just big old shorts. And there was a lot of drag in that water. Mm-hmm. And from there, I just, really excelled, really improved, My coaches were really impressed with my performance for swimming, and they encouraged me to swim for club. So pretty much my sophomore year, all the way to my senior year, I swam for club for high school. And I did not expect, a lot of not expecting college for swimming, anything like that. Just want to enjoy, have a good time, get the experience. Mm-hmm. So that's when I realized, I was getting some recruiting letters from college and oh, wow, I have potential for swimming plus get an education in college. So I was I'll go check out these schools. Mm-hmm. So I checked out 3 different schools and I want to check out, I really want to go to U of A, but at that time, I had other same teammates were on the swim club. They had better practice and I was okay. So they kind of chose him because they saw his practice performance where I was still a new kid practicing out, trying out for swimming. But I proved them wrong. So after my freshman year in college, I proved them wrong and I transferred to U of A from ASU. So I'm glad I did that. And then from there on, I'm thankful for the U of A coaches, the swim team. They're very competitive swimmers. And, I just really progressed from there. And then I did 3 Olympic trials. So 2008, 2012, and 2016, 2008. That was my very first time and I was really nervous. It was just a very new environment. It's just wow, this is the, new experience. And then we were inside an actual basketball stadium. There was a built-in pool inside of the basketball stadium, which is pretty crazy. Mm-hmm.
And how old were you that first time?
That time it was 2008. So I graduated in 2005. So 3 years after that, I 21 years old.
Okay.
yeah, I made top 16, which was not bad for a first timer for 100 breaststroke, which is, out of the whole country, only top two get to go. And I was top 16 in my 100 breaststroke, which I was really happy, the first time. And then, when another 4 years later, 2012, I had a high expectation, I did a lot more training and I got top six, not where I wanted to be, but, it's very competitive, very challenging. You have all these young swimmers out there and who are professional athletes. So it was tough, but I really enjoyed my swimming career. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. So I think I have a lot of questions. But to start, I just kind of want to dive into kind of the childhood and kind of what it was like going through the school system, especially the mainstream school system, being deaf, and kind of what obstacles you faced during that time, and how you were able to overcome. Like, were there other deaf kids even in school at that time?
When I mainstreamed this public school, I was actually the only deaf kid in public school. So the hardest part was, just socializing with other peers, hearing peers. I have a disadvantage because I can't hear as well with the hearing peers. So when they're trying to communicate with me, I'm just like lost. Yeah. So I'm very heavily reliant on interpreters in classes. So I use interpreters a lot in my classes when teachers talking or even when my peers are talking around. So it was tough when I first, mainstreamed public school, but I kind of picked it up. It was the funny thing in elementary, when I mainstreamed elementary, all my peers very, very friendly, very curious, like who I am, how I became deaf, all that stuff. But as I got older into middle school and high school, the atmosphere changed. It became more peer pressure thing, and then you feel kind of like I became like an outsider pretty much. So I was a quiet kid, and I would more like hang out with like the nerds because they're a very small group. So I kind of hang out with them, play chess club, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'm very thankful that when I got to swimming, I had a swimming peers, swimming friends, and I can hang out with them. So it just kind of helped, boost my self-esteem.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say once you got to middle school, kind of the tone shifted. And I've noticed that in other situations too. Like elementary school kids, like you said, are very curious and are very friendly. And for some reason, the whole tone shifts, I think, for everyone, once you get.
It's like when I first went to middle school, and also it's like, I'm like, where do I belong to? Like everybody has their own little group and like try to check out them. It's kind of like I just felt like pushed back. It was kind of tough. But after a while, I got the hang of it, and I was able to find some friends. And then at that time, middle school, that's when another deaf kid came in, so I kind of hang out with that deaf kid. So we kind of became good friends. We hang out a lot together.
Yeah. So did you have to have an interpreter with you all the time when you would even be like? Did you have an interpreter with you everywhere that you went in school? Even when you were with friends?
Well, in classes, I had interpreted, but from class to class, when I went to a different classroom, usually interpreter goes to the other classroom. They don't like follow me everywhere I go. So they just kind of, go to the next classroom and just wait for me to show up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So how were you able to make friends and socialize and talk to your peers?
It was tough. I mean, I didn't have a whole lot of friends. It's just more like I just kind of hang out with them because we kind of know each other. So I kind of hang out more with my swimming friends. And then when we went to the pool where we trained, I felt really comfortable because that's where we kind of know each other, and then our training style, and then I feel more relaxed. But when it came to school, I felt like just kind of like very tensed up and just kind of felt like I didn't belong there, So swimming was my place, my happy place. That's where I belong. That's what motivated me to keep swimming harder and just keep getting better and better. And it just kind of proved myself that I'm capable.
Right. So I would think that you were probably able to, from a young age, because you weren't even able to kind of fall into the social traps of society and of school, were you kind of able to, or forced to kind of develop a very strong like sense of self from a young age?
Sense of self.
Like were you able to, I guess, because you weren't faced with the pressures of the social situation, or the typical pressures, I guess you could say, you became much more reliant on getting to know yourself, and you had to, would you say that was kind of the case for you? Like what are some I guess advantages, or were you able to mature like at a faster rate?
Yeah, so swimming kind of pretty much gave me self-confidence, kind of boost who I am, made me proud of who I am. And then I didn't feel like, I didn't hate myself while I was dab. I hated for being dab. I hated for this and that. So swimming kind of really gave me that self boost, just gave more confidence, and I was able to be proud of who I am. And then, I can look back now like, wow, I'm glad I joined swimming, and then it made me who I am today. It gave me that confidence. It gave me that personality of who I am today. And then, for that, I'm forever grateful.
Yeah, and I've heard a lot about swimming, and I mean, I did swim lessons when I was little, but I never really got into it. But the people that I talk to, like my Aunt B, like people that swim, they swear by it. They say like all of the like meditative qualities of it, and kind of being in literally a physically totally different environment than what you're normally in. Like what kind of mental, other than kind of boosting your self-confidence, what other kind of like mental benefits would you say that swimming did and does for you?
Yeah. So when I'm in the water, I don't have my hearing on, so I'm completely like deaf, so I can't hear anything. So basically, when I'm in the water, I just I'm in my own world. I kind of zone out. So even though I'm training hard, I know the set what I'm doing, but for some reason, when I'm in the water, I feel relaxed and just kind of zone. I'm like, I feel like I belong in there. Like it's like my happy place, and it's like a different world. Like there's no other distraction, no other, people judge me who I am. It's just me in the water, and I'm just happy to be there. And then the water's there for me, and then it's just, yeah, it's kind of hard to explain. It's like your own world, for swimming. Like when you head in the water, and then it's like a different world. When you head out of the water, then you have the coaches right there, and you're listening to them, and you're back in the water. It's like a different world again. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's a different environment.
Definitely. And I think I would think that being deaf just amplifies that, being in your own world kind of state. So like did you ever at any point deal with any sort of mental like issues in terms of like depression or anxiety or anything like that? And how do you think being deaf either positively or negatively impacted your mental health as a whole?
When I was younger, I felt it kind of gave me that negative impact. But since I, got into swimming, it became more of a positive because I was able to take advantage of that. So like if I was going to swim meet, the environment is so loud. You hear people talking, yelling, coaches yelling, everything. And I'm sure that's a lot of stress on other swimmers because they can hear everything and they're getting tensed up. Yeah, I get tensed up, but probably not as amplified as they are, because I'm more, my environment is just completely quiet. I can just focus what I need to do, and then I just go from there.
Yeah, I read a really interesting book called it's called Stillness is the Key, and it kind of just talks about how all the greatest artists, musicians, athletes in the world have in some sense kind of found a way to remain still even in the most stressful or loud situations. So that's kind of what it sounds like you were more easily able to accomplish kind of that stillness that allowed you to just focus on the task at hand. And a lot of most other people would easily be distracted by those outside noises.
Yeah. Also, like as I got older, I was becoming more an elite level swimmer, and then time becomes more critical and more important. And that's where as even 1/10 of a second make a huge difference from being first place to eighth place. So from there, that the stress developed because you're focused on like, okay, I need to do better. I need to, I'm thinking all the different details where when I was younger, I just have fun, enjoy, just swim fast. And it's like, oh, I did really good. I was really happy and excited. But as I become a professional swimmer, time becomes so important in the detail of your stroke, take off the block, finish great turn, finish the wall really strong, that stress started to build up. And it was kind of hard, but you have to learn to like kind of zone it out. Like, all these years you've been training for 4 years to get ready for Olympic trial. You did what you could do. And then now's the time to give everything you got, just no doubt, that's when it happened. If you start doubting yourself, then you're going to start thinking negatively of your race. So that's where I had to train myself. Okay, be positive. I know I trained hard. I have no regret. And then just, go for it.
Yeah. I feel like swimming even more so than any other sport, because it's so because the difference in the times are so tiny. Like it is pretty much all revolves around kind of like you said, the fundamentals, right? Like in being like all the turns and making sure that your strokes are literally like perfect. But it comes to a time where it's pretty much all muscle memory after all the practice, right?
Yeah, it's muscle memory. And then that's when you have to let your body just kind of let it swim, like try not to, if you start overthinking, then, I need to change here and there and there, then you're thinking too much and your body starts to tense up. So that's hard because, you've been training in the water, like, several miles every day in the water. Your body starts to get used to in the water, and you should know like how many strokes you need to do when you touch that wall and turn. So it's psychologically, when you're in a big race, like especially Olympic trial, all that tension is right there. And I know I'm not the only one. There's other athletes are thinking the same thing, but they have that serious face, They try to keep their cool, but I'm sure inside they're like, got everything thinking in. So I'm the same way, but I'm just trying to my only advantage that I have, I can't hear anything. So it's very quiet for me, and that helped me really focus more. I can hear the crowd a little bit, but not as much as the other swimmers. So that's my advantage when I was swimming in my races.
Yeah. So you think that provided an advantage, or do you think at the same time kind of not hearing that energy? Like, do you think that was a bit of a disadvantage at the same time, like not being able to feed off the crowd's energy at the races?
Feed off the races?
Yeah, off the crowd's energy, like crowd's like noise at the races.
Yeah. Yeah, just hearing the crowd just makes me more nervous. So just have that silence. It's gonna help me just kind of be calm and just think about my racing, and I'm just looking at the visual. Give me the hand signal, and I'm on that block and wait for that strobe light. I go.
Yeah. I think my pinnacle of my athletic career was probably like baseball and like early high school, pretty much. And I was a pitcher, and you focus like during practice and during our BP rounds and everything. It's all fundamentals. You got recordings of your fundamentals the whole time. But then when you're on the mound there, I think it's kind of similar to swimming in that like you're all alone. All you got is yourself, and you have there's no room or time or space to think about the fundamentals at all. And I think that can relate to pretty much anything. Like if once you kind of create that muscle memory, or even just kind of the mental memory of doing things a certain way repetitively, like you really don't have any choice but to continue to do it that way. which I think
Yeah,
is.
I mean, it's like since I started my freshman year in high school, just from there on, I learned. I learned my mistakes in my swimming career, and I learned how to get better. Like why did I do that? Why did I do this? So I kind of learned from my mistake, my races, I improve. I get better. I need to fix that to make better. So same thing like with my focus. Like I train myself. My first race, like, wow, this is the big meet. I get nervous. I'm looking at other people, like, God, they're so bad. I need to beat this guy. I need to beat, the more races I did, the better I became. I started to absorb like all my experience. So I just got better and better. And it just became more natural. And then my stress got less. But when you become better and better, the stress goes up again. And then you try to retrain your body, your stress goes back down again. It's a cycle. It goes up and down.
Yeah. And I would think not only retraining your body, but also like what's retraining your mind and like keeping your mind in that flow state, I guess. Like what would you say you were like, what did you do to keep your mental at the highest possible performance, your mind at the highest possible performance, so you didn't have to worry about the stress come race day? Like what were some things, like I guess at the height of your swimming career, that you like did you ever get into any like meditation, or was the swimming in part kind of like the meditation for you?
Yeah, for before a race, usually I kind of go to a place where there's less people around. I just kind of stay warm, just kind of zone out. Sometimes I'll try to listen to music, and it's just be a place where there's not a lot of people around, and I just kind of wait. So usually for big races, there's like a waiting room, so you kind of stay in that group. So that was where I sit down, just kind of just zone out and just think about all this practice I've done, and just think about, okay, I need to have a great dive off the block, great swim in the water, great turn, great finish. I know I can do that. Just be confident in myself, and just I had put a lot of positive thoughts in my head. I can do this. I have no regret. Because as soon as you start doubting yourself, like, oh, this guy's faster than me, I'm already doubting myself. So you have to like think about something. I can do this. You always have to keep that positive mind all the time, because as soon as you start doubting yourself, you're gonna feel it. It's like the moment you start doubting yourself, your race gets slower and slower and slower. So you gotta stay positive and stay ahead of everybody. So it's a game, really, and then the game that you have to play with your mind and keep positive.
And do you think that positive mindset kind of went into your outside of swimming life as well as you progressed in your career? Like how did your life outside of swimming during your swimming career change or progress as your career went on?
As I was a professional swimmer for a while, really, I didn't really have much of a life. I was
constantly like, was it a lot of training, like a lot of time putting into it?
Pretty much just eat, sleep, and train. So when I graduated in college in 2010, I told myself, I'm going to swim for 2012. And then after that, I was like, I'm going to swim for 2016, my last shot. So that was 6 more years. So all I did was I just trained. I didn't think about anything. I would think about going to get my master's degree, but I told myself, if I do this, I'm gonna, I want my full focus on swimming. So I decided to put my master's degree on hold. I put that aside, and I gave everything I got. It's a big commitment.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Well, yeah, and I kind of want to go into like what it takes. Like, what is that preparation for like Olympics and the Olympic trials? Like specifically, like what is a typical day in like the preparation for that?
Yes. So I was still swimming at U of A after I graduated. So I was like we call a post-grad swimmer. So I still train with the college team, but I train as like a professional swimmer. Mm-hmm. So I was swimming with them, and their training schedule was, I'm trying to think. I know like Monday, Tuesday, No, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays were twice a day swimming. So you swim in the morning and you swim in the evening. And then Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, we would do some weightlifting, and then we swim after that. So you're talking, I don't know, 30 plus hours every day, every week, 30 plus hours. That's basically like almost a full-time job. That's your job. You just train.
Yeah. And I'm guessing kind of on the nutrition side, is it similar to like wrestling? Like, are you trying to kind of maintain a weight the whole time? Are you maintaining the whole time, or are you building muscle, or how does that work?
Yeah, you try to maintain weight. You don't want to lose too much or add too much weight. So you try to maintain, but also getting stronger. So we do a lot. So I was a sprinter. So we did a lot more weight training. We did weight 3 times a week. Where a distance swimmer, they may only be weightlifting twice a week because they don't need to be as strong or as powerful swimmer. So yeah, we would have like a very strict nutrition diet, and then I would have like a post-workout drink just after I work out, so I can recover, get ready for the next day. If I don't have that post-recovery that drink, I would get more sore and achy. I get more tired, so I'm always trying to keep on top of my game and just keep pushing myself hard as I can.
Yeah, and was it like kind of in that constant pursuit and kind of always having all of your attention on that one goal? Did you ever at any time suffer from like burnout, or were you always mentally on top of it? Were you always motivated? Like, how were you able to stay motivated? Because that was basically 2008 to 2016. That was like basically 8 years of
Yeah.
constantly training, right?
Yeah, I did. Well, from 2008 2012, I was fully committed. After 2012, I had a short burnout at that time. Right after 2012 Olympic trial, I needed a mental and physical break from swimming, just kind of get away from the pool. And financially, it was very hard financially because as a swimmer, you don't make a lot of money. As your swimming is your job, but you don't make a lot of money as a swimming professional unless you're like a gold medalist or you get all these different sponsorship. I'm not at that top where I never got a gold medal or I never been like in any kind of sponsorship. I was able to get like 3 suits, which that helped a lot. Every suit is between $300 to $500 a piece of suit. Every race I go, every meet I go, I get a brand new suit, which adds up a lot. Yeah. So 2012 is when after that I got burned out. So I just kind of shipped everything away from swimming. And that's where I decided to do a different sport. I did CrossFit for about a year. I really enjoyed it. I was really into it. And then I even gained a lot of weight. I was like 200 pounds. So I gained like 20 pounds after swimming.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot. And then, so after that end of the year of CrossFit, after that different sport, there was a deaf organization for Deaf Olympics asked me if I want to be a coach. Yeah. I was like, what the heck? I'm gonna try it out. Enjoy the experience, enjoying, meeting new deaf swimmers out there. So I went for it. So I got to meet the team, and we were able to go to Bulgaria, Sofia in Europe, and I watched them just kind of race, compete with other international swimmers. And at that time, I just like, wow, it brings all those memories I did, the last, 10 years, I really missed that, like I missed that feeling, that being in the water again, that racing, seeing them win. And it's like, I'm gonna get that last shot at 2016. So I decided after I finished the Olympics with the deaf team, I came back to the States, gave myself a couple of weeks to kind of really process it. Am I gonna do this? If I do this, I need to put everything aside again, focus on swimming again. So I did that. I talked to the U of A coaches and they welcomed me back again. I was so thrilled. So I trained with them for the next 3 years till 2016.
Okay, and then did you do the trials in 2016 again?
Yep, I went to Olympic trials in 2016. I left my last shot.
Okay, okay. Did you ever meet any of the like gold medalists, or did you ever? Who was the most like well known or highly accomplished swimmer that you met?
I met quite a few, and my biggest role model when I was a younger kid was Amanda Beard. She was the breaststroker herself, and she was one of the best breaststrokers in her times. I was able to get to train with her, which is pretty awesome. It's a big privilege for me to be able to train with her. And Matt Grievers, he's a backstroker. He trained with the U of A team, and I got the opportunity to train with him. Yeah, he's one of the best backstrokers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I met so many different Olympian and gold medalist people, like U.S. and internationally. Like I met all of them. Like every meet I went, it's a great experience.
Yeah, yeah. So everyone's pretty friendly. Like there's very good camaraderie between the competitors at the races.
Camaraderie.
Like did all the different competitors get along well and kind of and
yeah, when they're not racing, when they're just kind of like just waiting or getting warmed up stuff, yeah, everybody's so friendly. They just kind of like everybody's so cool, and then when they come to racing, they're like so fucking serious. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, I was very fortunate to be able to meet all these really awesome athletes.
Mm-hmm. What would you say? Is there one thing that they all had in common? I guess mentally or from like a mindset point of view, like in kind of your conversations with them, like these super athletes that are at the top of their game, the pinnacle of their career. Like, did they all have something in common? Would you say that you could pick up
on? Not particularly. I mean, kind of hard to say. I don't. Just how to say this. I mean, when they're not in the water, they think it's something else. They're trying to keep their mind off the water and just think about other events, like maybe other athletes from different states. They come hang out together. Like, hey, what are you doing over there? How things are going? Just different environment from different areas. I mean, I didn't really kind of listen in detail what their conversations about, but I just know, when we meet new people, we just kind of see how's your training going, how's your coaches, like what kind of training style are you doing, stuff like that. Just we learn things like different new technique or strategy or how you do this or nutrition wise, stuff like that. Or sometimes it could be completely not even swimming related, it's just completely random. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would just think it like who we're surrounded with kind of on a daily basis determines who we are, and you kind of training and racing with those people like kind of brought you up or like they all kind of bring each other up to a certain level, right? And that naturally they're all trying to level up every single day, which is it's super impressive. So like, yeah, it's crazy, the motivation thing, because I feel like more than anything, almost like the top athletes like yourself and athletes in the Olympics and trials and kind of that preparation that goes into it on an every single day basis. Like what was like when you would wake up in the morning, like what was going through your head? Like were you pumped up every single day to like get after it?
Or? Not always. Yeah, not always. Sometimes I have days where I'm ready to go. There's something like, oh man, I'm so tired, but we got to do this. If I don't go, I know I'm gonna feel bad. So I know I'll feel good afterwards. I have to keep positive mind. Just just get up and just go, go to practice, you'll feel better afterward, which I do, after practice, like, oh man, I'm glad I really did this, Yeah. And like you said about like, we were at U of A, we were very fortunate that when I first started swimming in college, we were not just a college team, we had a post-grad team that we actually trained together. So we were very fortunate to train with actual Olympian swimmers. So that's what made our college team really good, because we always train with them and we kind of look up to them because, wow, they're really fast. What they do, how they do that, That was how we were very fortunate to really, get better and better. Mm-hmm. And when I became like a semi-professional swimmer, and I look at all these young college swimmers, like, wow, it's kind of like our turn to be a role model for them, show how good we are, like how we can be better, like kind of motivate them. So it's just kind of pass it on. So I was glad that I went to U of A because we got that privilege of be able to train with, professional athletes.
Okay. Yeah. And so during like the first trials, well, I guess what was your first exposure to a big crowd or a big like what was your first big event, and like were you very or I guess let's just jump right to the your first time in the trials for the Olympics, like was that were you like super anxious going into it, and like how was your sentiment, kind of your feelings going into that?
So before the swim meet happened, we usually get there like 3-4 days before the actual Olympic trials happen. So we got to see the pool. There are actually 2 pools in that basketball stadium arena. And the main pool's in the main arena, and there's one in the back, and they have it's another 50-meter pool. So it was like, wow, this is incredible. I've never seen anything this, amazing, all this different, so huge. Yeah. So I was nervous, to be honest. I was very nervous, just seeing how big it is and seeing like, wow, these are all like fast athletes, this is like the A game, this is top of your game. Like you have to make your cut to get into Olympic trial. And then after that, you have to be top 2. So this is like the fastest swimmers. Mm-hmm. So I was nervous. And then I try to keep my cool and then just do what I need to do. But in my head, I was like, oh my God, this is kind of cool, but I'm nervous. But when it came to the actual race on that day, I mean, the stadium was filled. I mean, I can hear, even though I have my hearing aid off, I can still hear them like cheering, and just it's crazy. Like I'm like, wow. Like for a second, I just couldn't focus my breath. Like, wow, look at all these people. I'm like, wow, this is incredible. Mm-hmm. I was nervous, and then I tried to get my focus back in. I gave the best I could. After my first race, like, wow, I did it. This is really awesome. I made it to the next the top 16. So I was able. You have the prelim and the top 16 and top 8. So I was able to make it in the top 16, which is pretty incredible. So I got to swim a second time in the 100 breaststroke. So I was feeling more confident. I know where the routine, the procedure that I need to do to get ready. So I kind of feel more confident. So I got better and better. So again, with in that exposure, I was able to build more confidence.
Yeah, and I think confidence is really like kind of a snowball effect. Like you accomplish something really big for the first time like that, or even just competing and not completely. I feel like if I was in that position and I was like competing, as long as I didn't completely like blow it, I would look at that as like a victory. You know what I mean? Like, because and then the confidence just kind of builds, and then you're ready for the next thing, and you're ready for the next thing. So I guess post swimming career, well, I guess just go into a little bit what happened after 2016 and kind of what you've been up to the past five-ish years. Yeah.
So after 2016, I decided, it's time to start a new chapter. Mm-hmm. I gave everything I got. I was getting older, and I'm not getting any younger. I know there's a lot of new swimmers, younger swimmers out there are just getting faster and faster than I am. So I had to accept the fact, it's time to move on. So from there, I just kind of like what I do next. I have my bachelor's degree in deaf studies, so I could do some kind of be a teacher. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to be a substitute teacher for a while, see how that goes. Just give it a shot. It's got to start somewhere. Got to get my foot in the door. So that's what I did. So I was a sub teacher. I tried all the different schools. Some places I had a good experience. Some places were kind of scary. I was like, oh my God, I don't think I could be a teacher. This is too much for me. This is too stressful. Mm-hmm. I was able to experience that for about a year. And then that's when I decided that I want to be a teacher aide at Arizona School for the Deaf and Blind. That's where I went to school when I was a kid. So I'm like, oh, I might give it a try. I mean, that way I could be a good role model for kids because I was a former athlete. I can tell them, share my experience. So that's what I did. So I became a teacher aide there for a while. I did elementary, middle school, high school, different areas. And luckily I landed to be a PE teacher aide at that time. And just the right timing, that the PE teacher was transferred to a different job, and she asked me when I take her position. I was like, sure, I like PE. It's fun. I get to do all these different activities, play different sports with them. I can participate with them. I can stay active too. I'm just not sitting in the class all day just teaching them. So I was able to take her position, but I had to get my master's. So I had to go back to school. So while I was like a temporary teacher for that position, I was going back to school for getting my master's. So it was stressful. It was a lot. It's a big commitment, being a full-time student again and being a full-time teacher. Mm-hmm. But everything worked out. Got my master's. So I'm a teacher, a physical education teacher at Arizona School for Deaf and Blind. And so far, I love it. I love working with the kid, try to motivate them, try to inspire them, tell them, be positive, the kids need that, they need that motivation. They need to see like, oh, he can do it. I can do it too, Mm-hmm. That's what I want to be there for.
Yeah. Yeah. So your obvious motivation during your swimming career was to do as well as you could in swimming. And that's is that kind of what you felt that your purpose was at that time, just to maximize your personal athletic potential in swimming during that whole time. And so coming out of your career, like I would imagine you, after dedicating that amount of time to in that kind of mindset, did you feel at all lost? Like, did you feel like okay, like did you feel like depressed because like because you were unsure about what was next? Like, did you feel
I went through a phase where after 2016 I was kind of sad. This is like kind of ending my swim career. Like I've been a swimmer for almost half of my life, and then now I have to move on. So it was kind of just looking back all these different things I've done in the past, and I know I have to accept the fact that I got to move on. But I tell myself, I can always join master swimming. I can always still participate at a different level, but I can still, be able to swim, enjoy it, and be able to race if I want to, which I am. I still work out. I'm just getting back and working out and swimming again. That's what I miss the most. Working out makes me feel good, makes me happy again. It just helped me relieve all that stress. Mm-hmm. So that's really important to me to be able to find that balance now. So for a while, I was just like work, and I was not finding a balance to be able for myself to work out. So this past month, I was able to find that balance again. So I'm in a happy place again. So I just need to keep pushing it and just stay committed to it.
Mm-hmm. And it sounds like you've found you found your new purpose, right? You found your new purpose in motivating kids to be able to do the best that they can and to serve as a bit of a role model. And my aunt was saying that that it's practice at like 5, like super early in the morning, right? A couple days a week.
Yeah, I coach master swimming 4 times in the week in the morning, Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 6 to 7, and Saturday from 7 to 8, which I don't mind. You know, I really enjoy coaching, swimmers, just getting feedback, how to improve their stroke. You know, part of me, I always be that. You know, I always like to coach and then see them swim. It just makes me feel good. You know, I was able to make them better swimmers in general. And it just makes me like, okay, I want to swim too. So I found a place where I can train and swim.
Yeah. So that's kind of what keeps you motivated, and like kind of seeing the progression of the swimmers under you, the swimmers that you're coaching.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like that happiness factor. How would you say that your happiness is right now compared to the pinnacle of your own swimming career?
It's pretty close. I mean, as an athlete, all you do is eat, sleep, and train, which I love that lifestyle, but it's not reality. You know, I know I need to. Right now, I say I'm pretty happy because I'm able to find that balance now where I love the job I'm doing. I love coaching. I love teaching kids in the PE department where I could do all different activities with them. Being active. That's what I love the most about. I like to stay active. So that's where I'm really happy. As long as I'm doing something, I'm happy. So I'm really glad, I was able to find that teaching job and that coaching job, and then just find that balance.
Yeah, and I'm guessing that you have a lot more freedom now, right? In terms of just doing the things that you want to do on a daily basis, and not being forced to just eat, sleep, and train.
Yeah, true. Yeah, for the last, that's what I did. I didn't really have a life, but now I have a life. Which I'm kind of happy that I actually have a life now. I could do things. Hang out with friends and stuff like that.
Yeah. So, what does the future for Marcus Titus look like? What is your future? Do you have any? I mean, it sounds like you're very happy with what you're doing right now. What do you have anything that you want to do, that you want to accomplish yet in the future, both for yourself and for other people, or just in terms of, I guess, your life in general?
I want to someday get back into racing again, but that's gonna be a long way to go. But at least I'm starting somewhere, which I'm glad I am, because for a while, I'm glad I got started again, because for a while I was hesitant, but I made that push, just do it. It's going to suck at first, but after a while, you'll get in the routine again, you'll get used to it, and I'll pick it up. And I also want to keep, be a role model for kids, because that's important, not a lot of kids are fortunate. So I want to be able to help them, inspire them that they're capable, they shouldn't give up just because you're deaf or just because you have a disability, you never know unless you don't try, you have to gotta get your foot in the door and just give it a shot. You have to start somewhere. You won't know if you don't start somewhere.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess that kind of feeds into the next question. And one of my final questions that I have for you is for anyone listening. And, I have a lot of kids, myself being a kid. I have a lot of other, college and high school age kids who watch this, and even adults too. But for pretty much anyone watching, deaf or not, like what would you say is a top piece of advice for anyone, just in terms of kind of seeing a goal and accomplishing it and finding the happiness that you seem to have kind of now, and finding that purpose?
Yeah. The biggest thing you have to try. You know, you have to start somewhere. You have to work to earn it. You know, it's nothing is given to you, you know, easily. You have to, if you want to if you want something, you have to work for it. And then sometimes you'll get the results, sometimes you don't, but you don't give up. You know, you gotta keep pushing yourself, even though you might see small progress of what you're doing. That's a start. You know, you might have a big goal up here. You should down here, baby step, work your way up, and you know you're making progress, even though it's not right there. So big goal and small goal, what you need. Big goal, okay. I want to be Olympian swimmer. That's my top goal. How do I get there? Okay, go to practice every day. That's the goal. Okay, work on my stroke. That's another goal. Small little goal. You work your way up, and that's how you get there. Not necessarily sport. It could be anything. You know, it could be a career. It could be what you want to do. Your passion. It could be school, or your future job you want to do. It could be anything. You know, got to start somewhere. Don't give up.
Definitely. And I think that it's also kind of that doing that and embracing that I actually just talked to my aunt today about this, but it was like, it's all about, you know, keeping your perspective correct on everything and understanding kind of the scale of time and that we have a lot of time and that this is truly a marathon, and to not necessarily get caught up in short-term losses or short-term, you know, not necessarily being exactly where you want to or need to be at that exact time, but really kind of keeping the long-term perspective and knowing that it's going to pay off.
Yeah, I mean, it took me 15 years to get where I was. You know, 15 years is a long time. It's not going to happen a year where I'm a freshman, I'm going to become an Olympian swimmer. No, it took me 15 years to work my way up. So it's a long-term goal. I mean, a lot of patience, you know, commitment, being positive, you know, just stay on task. Keep focused on one thing you want to do and just kind of pursue it.
Awesome. Well, Marcus, I really appreciate you coming on. I appreciate your time. Let's definitely reconnect again in the future, and hopefully I'll be out there in Tucson, Arizona at some point, and we can.
Sounds good. Yeah, thank you for having me on podcast.
Awesome. Well, thanks, man. Have a great night.
All right, you too.
Bye-bye.